we had a funny story over in Kobe about my mouse, and then Dr. Israel's wife. We're always having fun, huh? So welcome everybody. Sorry, we were having our what we call our famous after party, which
Pre-party.
Oh no, I'm not our after party, our pre-party. I told Elle I look awake, but yeah, it was a long night last night. So the magic of I've been in my yeah, so Elle is going to help me. My brain is probably still a little backwards.
I do feel your pain though, because I got woken up just before 5 with the answer to website copy. So I've been up forever as well, and I'm not hiding it. So, but it's all good.
I think that it's also like a creative outlet for me for some, you know, like I get it. I said I got a little kiss from God. My friend that has a jewelry company, she sponsors some of my things, and she sent me a new package. And late last night, I kept hearing, open this up and open the package up. And not everybody knows this. Craig knows because he's helped me create, but these are the exact colors of my connecting the dots, and it has all the little dots. So I was just like, I call it a little kiss from God. So I'm like, all right, I've got to find something to wear with this today, because obviously you want me to wear it today on our on here. So yeah, in breakthrough group coaching, which is normally today is our normal guest speaker, which Elle is a member of, and we have other people. We do per Elle, I didn't really know what a pre-party was and an after party, but Elle, I think over in the UK, they must do them a lot. So we have a little pre-party. So we're having a pre-party chit chat as people were joining. But now
just I made it up, and it was a goal to try and keep us to time, because I thought if you remember, it started, we were going to do the pre-party at 1:45 the hour, so you could start bang on time on top of the hour, finish on the top of the next hour, and then like chit chat after. That was the goal.
And it's really worked. Isn't God great? He puts exactly who I need. He knows I need those little times. I know, and I'm getting good at it. So we're going to start. We do have our guest here, but what I thought was I want to just, for anybody that has been on and doing the fearless, we're calling it the Fearless Experience, but we're going to do one of these every single month, the second Wednesday. We're going to be doing them free of charge in Camp Gambini, and they'll be on Zoom, and I'll bring guests in. It won't be quite as extravagant as the break. Just to let you know, the Breakthrough Fear has been a 3-week experience for people. They've gotten to come in every Tuesday and Thursday, and then this week we've really brought it up. We had a surprise bonus on Monday, and then I decided to do another surprise and invite you in to our breakthrough group coaching. And we had our guest, which inside Breakthrough, we know Dr. Israel. He is one of our favorite guests that we have had. And so he said yes. And then you guys are getting it hot off the press. His wife is coming on tomorrow for the first kickoff of Adventure Camp's prayer and kind of prayer. We're calling it going deeper. It's like in a deeper level of prayer and prophecy and dreams. And every single week will probably look a little different, but it's just really spending time with the Lord. So Rebecca, and I don't know, she may bring her keyboard, she may sing a little for you guys. So I did get a 2-for-1, but I am working on bringing them both in as a guest into Breakthrough Group Coaching. We do have a special guest every week, and I just love to do that because I feel like it just really helps bring additional things for the members. So I wanted to just get any feedback, and I thought it would be great for Dr. Israel to hear for a minute. We kind of talked offline of where I feel like we're going to go with things, because I I'm involved in their ministry, and I know a lot of what they're carrying, and some of what we were discussing yesterday. I said, I kind of feel like this really goes. And so, but I wanted to just give everybody, hi, Corey. I didn't get to say hi to you, but I'd like to ask for a couple of volunteers to share maybe one or two things that while we've been doing this breakthrough fear that the Lord has been showing you, or even a question, or like you're getting there, but you're going, okay, I'm kind of stuck in this moment, or I was really blown away by this. And so I just, whatever you guys would like to share, or even if you want to share and then you have a question for like, can you help us navigate? Because I kind of felt like by you guys just sharing, and if you do have any questions, I was sensing the Lord was saying that Dr. Israel might have a little, he may be able to jump in, and I know he's always up for just flowing with the Holy Spirit. So I want to open that up, and then I will give him an official welcome. So who would like to share? Elle, you've got your mic off, so why don't you go?
My mic's been off the whole time.
I thought you wanted to share. Normally,
I can share. The whole thing's been great. I mean, the early stuff that we did wasn't new to those of us who are in Breakthrough, because we've done the 3 chairs before, but it was great to get the reminders. Me personally, I had the session with Joseph on Monday, the word he had and what he said, combined with then what came up on Tuesday. And then it's been good from a like, oh, God, bringing all the pieces together piece. But in terms of specifics, I don't know. It's just all been great, which I know isn't really the answer you wanted. I don't have any questions. I don't feel very fearful at the moment. So I'm just sort of storing it all up for such time as, although I guess the one good reminder was, I don't remember who said it, but Esther, I think, said that fear is a liar. And so, yes. But there's been lots of words that have spoken into exactly where I am, which is not a surprise, because that's what Holy Spirit does. But it's been nice confirmation, and like, so no, it's been really good. Yeah, it's been fab.
Yes. And Esther did say that fear is a liar. And so all of you guys do know that did join in. The way that I am doing Camp Gambini is all of these sessions will be in the Camp Gambini library. So even if you join later, you can go in and see all of them. So you can see session 2, what Esther, I mean, every single guest has just like exceeded the
and
expectations.
They built on each other as well. And so I would be,
and they don't even know each other.
No, I know.
Yeah. Esther and Dr. Israel do know each other well, but other than that, they don't even know each other. And they were just like, it was so Holy Spirit. Okay, so would anybody else like to share? Corey, Celia, Craig?
Sure, I will. It's Corey. I'm with Elle. Joseph was amazing, and just everything that, the whole thing, confirmation after confirmation. For me, though, at this, it was so timely, and so there's been, I was experiencing a lot of triggers, at the same time throughout the 3 weeks, major triggers. And so I still haven't experienced my breakthrough, which is family reconciliation. It's just been something that's been reoccurring over the last 20 years, just a lot, of distancing, just dysfunction and distancing from one another. And so that is the breakthrough that I'm looking for, and I'm believing for. And I'm believing for God to do it. He's really challenged me through this to take every thought captive when I begin to feel concerned about the family distancing. If I send a message and they ignore me again, or whatever, whatever's occurred, and so let the whole letting go. And another thing too that had come up with the fear, that I don't know if anybody else said it, but I kept hearing it. I heard it on the radio station. I heard it on a TV show I was watching, that that wherever we're afraid of something, um, there's lack of faith. And so, and if we do have faith, like faith in our fellow man, let's say, or faith, faith in God, or faith in ourselves, um, then that fear has been removed. And so it's worked its way into this whole concept that, whenever I experience the faith of the Son of God, not me trying to believe, but him persuading me in believing, I know that he's bringing about that deliverance in that area of fear. So yeah, that's my experience.
So good, Corey. Thank you for sharing. And, I think that it's an ongoing process. And I think that just saying yes and showing up to and keep showing up and is huge. So I applaud you for that. Would anybody else like to share? They're very quiet today.
Can I just share a thought that came into my mind after what Corey's saying? It's also that thing that, like, getting rid of fear isn't like a one-time job. There's that quote by somebody, not a Bible person, but said, like, we bath every day, we need motivation every day, and actually choosing to take those thoughts captive can be sometimes it's like even moment by moment if we're really struggling with stuff, but that's a daily thing too, isn't it? So it's not like we do fear and then, oh, that one's done. They're like, you've been showing this to us with all the different areas where we can be fearful. If you get one fear done with, and then you might have a really great time, and if you be really, yeah, and then something else will come along, because that's just life, isn't it? So that's just a thought that popped in my head, which I hope it was meant to be encouraging. Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's really great. And I do like what you say with that. And those of you that don't know, the ones that are in my coaching, the 3 chairs is something that I heard a pastor speak, and it was in a season where I was really sitting down. I didn't even know how many areas of fear I was sitting down in at the time. And so the Lord started having me just write them as columns, and it's become something I had no clue. He would actually have me become a coach on top of things. And it is one of the areas that I have had so much breakthrough and deliverance and healing in. I didn't even realize, because I was very successful and loved Jesus, but I didn't realize how many of these things I didn't identify. And so my passion is helping people hear God's voice, and also just starting to learn these things. And that way you can identify it. And I always love to say, you can find out what it is and partner with the Lord with his truth, because there is always truth in the Bible. It always says you can, but it's an action. It's not just magic. Fairy dust comes down. Like, I think sometimes we think that we're gonna, we go into church and we feel these great things, and then we just think that we're never going to, that's part of our life and journey, because that's part of how God's going to use us in our story. So my hope is to give you tools to begin to identify these things. And I know Dr. Israel is going to definitely add on to that. So I wanted to just welcome, I was thinking as I was going to introduce him today, I was like, when I wrote what this kind of challenge, without, that's the real popular word out there, 5-day challenge or something, but the Lord did not let me call it a challenge. I could not call it a summit. So it took me a really long time to figure out what it was. And one of my good friends said, it's the fearless experience. And because it's like, we always need to keep going through and saying, hey, like speaking life. Okay, I'm be fearless. I'm fearless. You may not feel it. my outside when I say it, but there's something when we choose to focus on that, that is going to grow. And so, but I said in it, calm confidence, and it's a word that the Holy Spirit's given me for about 2 years. And when I think of that, and it's probably been close to 2 years when I met Dr. Israel, he probably is the most person I would say that really represents that, is a calm confidence, and it comes from a journey of continuing to do that, and also some of the things that he teaches on I've never heard spoke in that way. So I was talking to I was actually in Kobe, and I was like, oh, he does want to come back. Okay. He was sharing how he'd been on and he wanted to come. And I was like, oh, all right, well. And so I was talking to his wife, Rebecca, and I'm like, I really wanted to have both of them together because I haven't yet. And each season, each thing brings just a really amazing flavor. And they are both like, super amazing on their own. And then there's parts of their story that I felt it really brings some amazement to that. So if you become a Breakthrough member, you will get to hear that a little plug, because I know they will come back and hear that, but you will get to, I'm excited for Camp Gambini to get to meet you, and because you have impacted my life. They have a coaching company. I love what they're doing in equipping coaches, and he also has a very strong background in the business and the entrepreneur. And he doesn't normally tell the titles and always, but everything from bishop to all of these things. But to me, labels don't really matter. It matters that I can see it on somebody. It's a deeply rooted confidence of who God says they are. And that's what I'm personally pursuing. So I'm always, and I didn't realize that's what it was. I call myself, like, we're having Easter, right? So it's kind of like an Easter egg hunt or a treasure hunt. And so I'm 49 years old. I wish I would have learned some of this stuff when I was 21, but I'm still learning it when I see people, and I'm like, what is that they just, they're not rocked by what people think. They're not, they feel, but how do they get from, because what's not going to go away is people not loving you, right? Dr. Israel, and being a fan. But what I have learned so much from him is what we can do and navigate through, so we can learn, and it is tied to being fearless. So I'm going to let him share whatever he wants to share. And I was going to say, out of all the titles, I feel like he is my friend and someone that, I have a lot of people in my circle, but when you start to step out and do certain things, whatever a new event is in your life, you see the people that say, we're going to we'll change our schedule and we will be there for you. And that is what they have done. And I'm going to try not to cry, but I haven't known them that long. But I am so grateful. Some of the people that the Lord has brought in my life, and the Magukins are one, that they say, we're going to change our schedules and we're going to be there and we're going to support you and cheerlead you. And yes, I will do it. And I am humbled by that, because I know that my levels of people that they may get in front of are not the levels of someone else, but it's the deep character of a person. And so that is why I'm so excited to introduce to you Dr. Israel Magukin. Welcome. And I'm just going to turn it over to you.
Oh, thank you, Jodi. Wow, I'm humbled, privileged, and blessed. I'm looking at God's children. That's what I'm looking at. I'm looking at the bride of Christ. And so I don't want anybody to mistreat my bride. I don't want anybody to mistreat my children. And so my endeavor, and I do not get it right, but my endeavor is to be there if I can. Now, obviously, the sheer thing of numbers, amounts of people, that always adds a limitation. And so I'm probably, even on my messages, I'm probably, unless I'm looking for something, 5 days behind, just trying to catch up with my messages. It's just sometimes overwhelming, but it's always a privilege. So what I'm saying is I don't always get it right, but it's always a privilege to serve the body of Christ. Fear, let's talk about it. I may project some thoughts that you might not have thought. And so let's start somewhere and say this. Fear is diametrically opposed to faith. Fear is diametrically opposed to faith. In other words, it's the evil of the good. Both are powerful. Both are powerful. Many Christians, they want to brush off and try and by words minimize fear. This is their way of acting out in faith, is by saying fear doesn't matter. But fear is a power. It's something that governs, it's something that rules. Because whatever you fear the most, have you ever heard of that? The thing I feared the most happened to me. Because you put so much belief in that fear that you gave it the power. Right? And so we want to understand that fear is real. Let me give you another thought, and I'm going to talk about it. Fear is an emotion. It's not just an evil spirit. Now, we can cast out, there's different layers. There's fear that comes from the enemy, and one may need deliverance from that. And I've prayed deliverance for people that have been set free from fear. But fear is also an emotion. The one who gave us the emotion of fear is who? Someone want to tell me? Take a risk and answer me. Who gave us the emotion of fear? All right, I'll help you. I know you all want to say the devil, right?
Well, I was thinking, well, if God made everything, then he must have made fear as well. But then I'm thinking, it's a trick question. I don't know that, but yeah.
Well,
No,
I think
you're
God
right.
made fear
God created
because
fear.
I think God created fear because in the natural, if you don't want to touch a hot stove, so the next time you think about it, no, that's not good. That's scary. So I think that's why he created fear. I don't think he wants us to dwell in fear.
Good thought.
Because he said many, many times, I don't know, 300 times, do not fear. Right? Thank you for listening.
Yeah. Good. All right. Does Paul not say in the Bible, if I still feared men or pleased men, I would no longer please God or fear God? The Lord says, if I'm your father, where's my reverential fear? And so the fear we're talking about in this group is that evil, dark fear that traps you in panic, this type of thing, right? So I want to just be clear on what we're talking about because there are layers. But the emotion of fear given by Yahweh, by God, for purpose in the earth, is misused when it's an unregulated emotion. Maybe you can just write that down, unregulated emotion. A regulated emotion should go with your belief system. So I don't believe that God will hurt me. I don't believe that. Now, he did wipe out a whole race, a whole mankind, except for Noah, by the flood. But yet I still don't believe that God will hurt me. I don't believe that God sets me up for failure. Therefore, I do not fear God in a way that is going to hurt me. But my fear towards him is reverential, which means I worship him. It's a high-end respect. Did you hear that? A high-end respect. When you give respect to the wrong thing, this is now a fear negative. We should give respect, a high-end respect to Yahweh, to God, that causes us, compels us to fall down on our knees and worship him. Take our shoes off because it's holy ground. There's this reverential fear that comes when his presence comes. We were designed by him to reverence him. And this reverential fear is the very positive of his design in our lives. But when we give, hear this again, when we give respect to the wrong thing, we open the door for negative fear. Because it's a belief system. Fear is attached to belief, such as faith. Faith is a belief. Fear is a belief. So if I fear God, why would I fear anything else? Okay, so that's said well, but to live that out is another story, right? So let's talk about our emotions, because I said fear was an emotion. We have all been given a set of emotions. We call that in the coaching world emotional intelligence, your emotional quadrant. So I may be intellectually intelligent. So I have an IQ, an intellectual quadrant. And whatever that is, whatever numbers they throw at me, that tells me whether I'm really dumb or really smart or in between, right? That's an intellectual intelligence. Well, there's an emotional intelligence. The setback for most people that I've worked with over the 38 years of coaching, the setback for most people is this: their emotional IQ, or the emotional quadrant rather, the emotional intelligence is not where it should be. They may be intellectually mature. They may be able to cook a meal. They may be able to drive a car. They may be able to get a degree in something. But emotionally, if they do not have an emotional intelligence, are you there? This is often the setback in their lives. And this is the place where fear, being an emotion, plays a part. Yeah. So I was sharing a story. I went through a tsunami. My family went through a tsunami many years ago, but we went through it. Well, my one daughter at the time was 15 years old. This trauma so radically impacted her that it stunted, it shut down her emotions. So although she went on 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, although she went up in age and now has her own children, married, has her own children, her emotional development stopped at 15. So there was a certain moment I realized that she was like 18, 19, and she was still reacting, responding as a 15-year-old girl, as opposed to a young lady that she was becoming. So on the outside, I saw a beautiful young lady. On the inside, her emotions were dwarfed. And that there was the plan of the enemy, of course, to use a tsunami to limit their growth. When I realized that, I began to then help her develop her emotions. Otherwise, she would have been somewhat dysfunctional in life. She wasn't stupid. She was intelligent. She was a pretty young lady. Everything was going good. All of that was fine, except that emotional stagnation, that emotional dwarfing that took place because of the trauma. If we don't recognize that in ourselves, we go in life and we have this emotional deficit, we have this lack in our emotions, and this is where other unruly emotions begin to take over, and such as fear, such as anxiety, panic, all these things that come to us, fear of failure, fear of rejection, fear of, and we can go on, and we can name all these fears, where the original design of fear in us was for reverence, was for worship. It's the same thing when you find men have affairs, especially ministers. There was for a while an epidemic of ministers having sexual affairs. And I began to research, I had to counsel many of these gentlemen. I was sitting on the board for a very high-end minister, and Peter Wagner. Some of you might have read some of Peter Wagner's books. And I ran his coalition of apostles for the whole of Europe. And so you can imagine how many ministers I sat and counseled or coached that were either thinking of an affair or actually had had an affair. And the one common denominator through all of them was their worship life was not in order. Their intimate life with God was not in order. And because it wasn't in order as created, it had to express itself some other way. Does that make sense? And so they had intimacy with people instead of with Yahweh. And so this is the same thing with all of our emotions. Our emotions are designed to please Him, to serve Him, to work for Him on the earth. But when we neglect its purpose, when we neglect that emotion's purpose, it expresses itself somewhere else. All right. So here we are having some sort of development of emotion. I don't know where you are with your emotional development. I know after I went through a tsunami, although I was an adult already, and Jodi had said about me being a bishop, I'm an ordained bishop. And so I was in that level of leadership already, but yet I found that this tsunami damaged my emotions. Maybe it was rejection, people rejected me because I went through a tsunami, or people, whatever, accusation. These all affect my emotions and my ability, to respond to those emotions. When your button is pushed, when somebody prods you, right? How do you respond? What emotion comes out? So the first thing I want to talk about is be self-aware with your emotions. Be self-aware as a person, because successful people, fulfilled people, are self-aware people. Your emotions can cause you to have idiosyncrasies, uncontrolled laughter. Maybe start talking a lot when you're nervous, when you're afraid. I remember a minister, a well-known minister, traveled with me for many years, a musician, psalmist, a prophet, wonderful guy. And he was coming from South Africa with me over to America, and we were coming on tourist visas. Well, he discovered that tourist visa, you're not allowed to work. And so technically coming to preach, we were working. So he realizes this and starts panicking, right? Fear comes in. And so he kept saying to me, they're going to catch me. 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 Well, he told himself all the way before he got on the plane, all the way over on the plane, to the point where when they asked him why he's coming into the States, he sold himself out. They put him on the plane, sent him back again because not welcome. And this was all his own doing. Was all his own doing, because he gave way to a panic or fear or an emotion that he could not control. So that emotion began to control him. So just a thought quickly, how many of you have emotions such as fear that control you? That control you. I used to have the emotion of anger when I was younger. Outbursts of anger. So calm confidence, that's a wonderful way to be seen right now, to be a calm, confident person. And I must say, I feel calm and I feel confident. And as a horse trainer, that's the key to your success with horses, is to have a calm confidence around them. Not a fear respect like a lot of people have with horses, but a calm confidence. And so, but I wasn't that before. That was, years ago, uncontrolled emotion of anger, frustration. I would let it out. I'm an Irishman by birth, not by birth, by my father's a full-blooded Irishman from Belfast, Ireland. So he got a temper, as big as the continent. And so, of course, you inherit that. You learn it. That's what I mean by inheriting. You learn those misbehaviors. You learn you don't have to control your emotion. If you're mad, you can just let it out. If they deserve to hear and be told off, well, you just go ahead and tell them. And I see, Elle is pulling her face there. Well, she's British, right? So this could be part of the problem. The British are very opinionated, very opinionated people, as I am. But the point is, we've got to learn to govern that, right? So first, we've got to be self-aware that we do these things, that we allow our emotions. So fear is allowed, but it's also misdirected. Because if I truly feared God in his greatness, in his majestic state, would I really fear anything else? Did I go there? Yeah, I went there. And I shared this on our church service yesterday. I have a thing called Cyber Wednesday. It's our global church meeting. Psalms 8, verse 6, Psalms 8, verse 6. You have made him, mankind, to have dominion over the works of your hands, God. You have put all things under his feet. Well, there's no place for fear in that, right? Unless it's reverential. If we're the governor, why are we afraid? Okay, so number one, be self-aware. Number two, self-regulate your emotions. Because fear is an unregulated emotion. It's not governed. Not governed. So how do you deal with fear? You face it. You face it. You understand it, and you regulate it. So I was at the 3 land point. Then I translated that directly from Dutch, the 3 land point. Anyway, German, Belgium, and the Netherlands have a point where all those 3 nations come together. And there's this tower that you can climb and look over the 3 nations. Of course, I would go up there and pray. But it's like a mesh wiring that you stand on. So you see right through it, like a glass bridge type of thing. And the whole structure is like that, a little bit like the Eiffel Tower, but a little bit more scary because there's virtually nothing underneath you. And so the first time I went up there, I had this little panic attack. I started climbing up. It was like this circular thing that I climbed up through. It's like, yeah, I'm going down. See, my emotions said, get out of there. I'm scared, But of course, I wanted to go up there and pray. So now I had this little challenge war going on because I had this emotion coming out that was fear. And in South African military, I was a paratrooper, so this shouldn't be the case. But it was me trying to get up there, not knowing what fit through the things and get stuck somewhere, you know, all these could be's that come into our thought pattern, right? Some say thought pattern. All right, so let me interject quickly. The weapons of our warfare are not carnal, but they are mighty to the pulling down of strongholds, casting down every vain imagination and thought that exalts itself against the knowledge of God. This is when fear comes, when you let alternative thoughts exalt itself against the knowledge of God. So I'm going up there thinking, yeah, I'm going to get stuck, you know, whatever. So I go down again to the bottom, and I'm thinking, but I have a whole Bible school class at the bottom with me. And so there was a couple of hundred of them. So it's like, example, talk about calm confidence. This was not calm confidence. This was panic and get the hang out of there. You're not going up there, you know, you're going to fall off. The wind's going to blow. There's no safety up there. All right. So what did I do? I changed my thought pattern. Now, remember, I love deliverance. So the first thing I always do is deal with the spiritual activity. You can't say enough about that, right? But having said that, now I'm looking up thinking, I've got all these kids. I'm going to teach them courage. I'm going to teach them confidence. You know, I'm their hero leader. You know, I'm their champion. You know, and you know. So I've got to get myself together, and I've got to self-regulate my emotions. How did I do that? I began to think about the truth. So let's talk about this high tower. How many people have climbed up there? Yeah, thousands upon thousands. How many deaths? Well, probably none. But even if there was one, he probably jumped off, as opposed to fell off, right? And so I go through the truth, and I let my understanding and my intellect comprehend that this is actually safe. And once I've done that, so why am I afraid? The truth is, this is safe. And when I discovered the truth of it, I was able to navigate up to the top with full confidence, and all the kids behind me, because the bishop is confident, we're all confident, yay, you know. And we got to the top, and we had our prayer meeting. And one of the things I did when I was at the top, I looked down through the floor, and I faced my fear and said, fear, you have no hold on me, in the name of Yeshua. And I was not afraid. But potentially, as I started, that panic came up. Right? It's like the bungee jumping. It's nervousness going up, right? Panic at the step off, and then sheer pleasure as you fall. And then you want to do it again. But that moment, that's that moment of panic. Because you fear in thought. Write that down, you fear in thought. Fear in thought. So you can have anything you think you can have. The power of the mind, right? He gave us that mind to govern the earth. But we can have what we think. We can have what we entertain. We can have what we dream. After all, he gave Israel Saul when he had David for them. You can have whatever you want. Doesn't mean he wants you to have it. But you can have anything you want. And so unregulated fear means you're not reverencing God enough. You're not intimate enough. And you're giving space for this fear, unregulated fear, to be used by the enemy for the enemy. And invariably it's to stop you accomplishing all that you need to accomplish. So let's talk about emotions when we talk about fear. There is also, again, I'm going to reiterate it, there's also a spirit of fear. There's a spirit of fear that you need to combat in the spirit. And if it takes hold of you, you need to have deliverance. And there's no self-help that's going to help you. Just go and see a man of God, woman of God, get that devil cast out, and all will be fine, right? Yeah. And I've seen it operate many times. Fear, especially in Europe, France and Belgium. Wow. Spirit of fear grips people's lives, grips their lives. So a lot of deliverance needed. But I'm talking about the emotion of fear, where I was designed to fear him, but in the most loving, caring way, in the most intimate way. It's an awe. It's an awe. So Al's asking, how do you know the difference? Well, one is controllable and one's not. When you're possessed by something, it controls you fully. If you're demonized, what I call demonized, it grips your thoughts. It can, to the level that it goes, it can control you. But you see how I self-regulated going up the tower. That's not a spirit. That's just my own unregulated emotion.
So you try the self-regulation first, and if that doesn't work, then you think, oh,
Yes.
maybe this is, I need a bit of help here.
Yeah,
Got it.
right. Absolutely. Thank you for answering my question, your question, in practical words. All right. And so talking about this self-awareness and self-regulation, we've got to understand, going back to our emotional development, because you're not going to be able to self-regulate if you can't have the full mature development that you need. So I'm 59 years old, so I should have a certain amount of confidence in life, right? I'm not afraid to drive a car at 120 kilometers an hour or 80 miles an hour. I'm confident I can handle that machine, and drive down that road, and it's all fine, because of my age. But the first time you drive that vehicle, the undeveloped emotion comes out, right? The panic, I teach my one daughter, I have a whole bunch of kids. I teach my one daughter how to drive, and I said, turn here. And I thought her logic would say, the next entrance or the next opportunity to turn. No, she just turned. And we were going, I don't know, 30, 40 mile an hour. She just turned. She nearly rolled the car. She nearly hit a brick wall. I said, stop, and I grabbed the car and the steering wheel and spun it around. What are you doing? She said, you told me to turn now. I said, yes, baby. At the next turn. Well, that may just be IQ instead of EQ. She might need some development in her IQ. But panic, she was panicked. That's what was happening. So her emotion was ungoverned because the emotion was immature. So let me ask you this very direct question. Doesn't matter what age you are you emotionally mature for your age? Oh, yeah. Because this point right here is where we open the door for everything. This is the obstacles in our lives when we try and become attractive in our marketing. We want to be attractive to people, but yet people look at us and somehow they're repelled. Uncontrolled laughter, uncontrolled outbursts, uncontrolled crying. For years, I sat in my office and coached and counseled, coach. I've had a very large ministry in Europe. Coach. Oh, thousands of people. I used to preach for Colin Dye in England. That was a 10,000 people church in London. Matthew Shemalua prophesied he'd have the leading church in London. He now has it. A lot of experience out there with a lot of people and too many people, and everybody wanted help. And for a while, I had them come to my office, and I told my PA, get me a box of tissues, please, put on the table. Because you sit and talk to somebody, 2 minutes, 3 minutes, they're crying. The emotions, the anxiety coming into my office was enough. They made such a thing to get a meeting with me and then finally had the meeting that by the time they got in there, they were emotionally frazzled. I say one thing and they start crying. It's like, Lord have mercy. And so I would give them a tissue. I say, take a tissue, go out, calm down. And when you're calm, come back in. Maybe a little cruel, but I could never help them if there was no level of regulation on their emotion. They wouldn't be learning, they wouldn't be growing, they'd just be crying. And the more I would speak, the more they would cry. So it's not going to work, right? And sometimes it was happy tears, and sometimes it was sad tears. And, you know, sometimes I'd have these nervous little reactions like nervous laughter or fidgeting or, you know, go out, let's do this again. But I'd give them tools to work with when they went out, how to regulate, how to calm, how to regulate. And let's try it again, come back in. And of course, I try and be warm and kind, all that type of stuff, you know, make them feel comfortable. But their lack of regulation of emotion was their setback. So if you had to ask me, after 38 years of coaching, what is the number one thing that I would think people need to fix in order to succeed? Regulate your emotions. But before you regulate them, here's the thing, grow them to your age, your natural age. Yeah. I can't see everybody's faces because they're all pictures. They all look like they're interested, all these pictures. That's good. You know, the pulling faces would be terrible. Oh, David Cameron. Oh, okay. All right. So answer this question right now. Let's talk about this quickly. I don't know how much time we have.
Yeah, you know what? I just wanted to address that because I looked over and I realized you asked me a question privately before we got on, and I didn't, there was so much going on, I didn't see it. So I will say that we have as much time as you have. I will let the guests have kind of gone in these sessions to where the Lord is leading. So if you have the time, if you have a hard stop, let me know and I'll make sure that I stay to it. But this stuff is so good. And that's what, and I would like, literally, I'd love us to give a moment where they actually write it down and really look at it. Because I feel like you're on to something that the Lord is wanting to really expand here.
Amen. Well, I'll go until the Holy Spirit ends me, or my next meeting comes up. So one of the two. But yeah, let's answer that question. Let's answer that question. Are you emotionally mature? Does your emotional maturity match your external maturity?
Yeah, and I'm just going to give you guys a minute. I think sometimes I like to do that because it gives you a minute for it to just settle in. So we're just gonna take a 30-second to 60-second break. I normally play music. I don't think I have it ready to draw up. Elle, I know Craig, you have access to my screen, but I'm just gonna give you guys 60 seconds. And I didn't get a chance to type that question in, but it is evaluating what is your emotional intelligence age. Yeah, I gotta take a minute with that too, because I think I might get a little, and just to give a little perspective, this should be around Dr. like your personal age, or okay.
Your personal age or older.
Okay.
we want to be mature in our life,
Yeah.
right?
Okay. So yeah, I'm going to give you guys 60 seconds. So just take that minute, and it was just Papa, and just see what he wants to show you. So I'm even going to pull my screen down for a minute just to give you guys that privacy. Mhm. Hi, Mary, welcome. We're kind of in a quick moment that you can join in with us just by asking the Lord. Our guest, Dr. Israel, is talking about our emotional intelligence over our, our IQ over our EQ. And so we're just asking the Lord right now, where is it at? Just a humble moment of revealing what age am I in maturity in my emotional maturity.
I'm hoping I could stay because I'm supposed to have a client at 11, but she's not here. So I'm like, maybe she's not coming.
Aww.
So maybe I could stay.
Hey, well, we'll have the replay
So-
up. Tuesdays was a little belated, but I finally got it up really late last night. So you'll be able to find them all in Camp Gambini. So if you want to just take your mic off, I know everybody's kind of, and everybody, I'm going to give you 30 seconds and then we're going to bring you back on. Yeah, we're just asking the Lord to show us, not in condemnation, but just where am I at, my emotional intelligence, areas where maybe trauma has come in. So thank you, Lord, for what you're revealing to us all right now. Okay, so if everybody, yeah, that was deep. Dr. Israel, I just felt like there was something, and I know we have a few people that have been joining in, and I see a hand up for Corey, so I'm just going to let you take it back over because I have a feeling there's some pretty awesome stuff going on.
Corey, you wanted to share something?
Yeah, I found this really, really interesting because he said 15, and I was looking back at 15, and like Jodi said, what area of trauma might have occurred, and that wasn't an area, like that wasn't a year that trauma occurred. And but he highlighted to me that that was the year that I became an adult. That was the year I got my first apartment. That was the year I was in driving school to get my license. At 16, I got my first car. So I was living on my own. I had a very good paying job. And then I was date raped and got pregnant with my daughter at 16. And so from that time on, I became adult responsible and began to stuff my emotions because I had all these adult responsibilities at such an early age that that's where I'm at now at 51, because I continued having all these adult responsibilities. So then when situations occurred where it would have demanded an emotional response, I turned it inward, and it manifested as like self-harming behavior that I'm still not quite free of. So that's how that turned out. It was pretty deep,
Right.
but good insight and revelation for sure. And you know, like you expanded on what I initially was like hearing God leading up to, like, and I like you explained it like so well with this faith and fear thing, that what you're putting your faith in could be something that that we should be like fearing. And because it's like you said, we're not fearing God, and because we're worshiping that thing, that by putting our faith in that thing rather than putting our faith in God. So
Absolutely.
so good.
Well, thank you, Corey, for your vulnerability there. You know, that's definitely a trauma. You know, it's not a physical trauma or a act that's happened per se, but it is an event in your life where it changed you or marked you. And we can often go back to those moments of time and see how our emotions either stopped or what, you know, we turned it inward, as you said. That's very, very much the case with many, many people. So I hope that question helped you to become self-aware. You know, you have an emotional intelligence of X amount of years, you know.
Yeah, definitely moving forward, I believe that it definitely will help me to be more self-aware.
Right, absolutely. So exciting. Well done. Let's go a little further with this. The question, of course, is about our age, emotional age. You know, if we're not healthy in our emotional state, in our emotional age, that's when we become what I would call emotional. I don't call emotional the fact that we have emotions. It's taking our emotions for a walk without a dog leash, you know, and they can go wherever they want to go, you know. We got to govern that. That's the regulation I was talking about earlier. We got to govern that emotion. So how do we do that? My life goal is to inspire somebody every single day of my life. I don't want to make millions. I don't want to have the largest church or the biggest home or the fanciest car. In fact, I just did something really radical, and I turned in my Mercedes for a nice Mercedes convertible. I turned it in for a 31-year-old pickup truck. 31-year-old, and I'm more happy in my pickup truck than I was in the convertible. So we got to realize that sometimes what we're going after is not the right thing. So my life goal is all about inspiring people. So I try to get on platforms like Jodi's, you know, as much as possible, because I hope to inspire. That helps me govern my life goals. But now let's put this in perspective to emotion. I told you I used to have a temper. So I used to use my fists early days when I was a kid. So growing up, of course, I learned how to what? Govern that emotion. So, but it took a while. I'd broken a few walls, doors, car windscreens. I was messed up. And I remember I was going to preach. I was in my 20s, early 20s. I was preaching for a big youth crusade. And for me, it was big anyway, about 1,000 kids there from all different regions. And I was the guest speaker. And I left my briefcase with my Bible at home. And I was so angry when I discovered it because I was running late. I punched the windscreen, like, oh man, bam, shattered the windscreen. And well, how do you get up and preach now? We're talking about a calm confidence, right? Well, that wasn't there. That was before that ever came, before I governed those emotions. Nowadays that I have a life goal to inspire somebody every day of my life, when that guy cuts me off on the road and this rage, now it's going to become a road rage coming up inside of me, I'm now governed by my life goal. Because I ask myself the question, will this inspire or will this hurt? As soon as I think on that, I put the fist down, smile, God bless you, have a wonderful day. I pray God gives you driving intelligence, and I bless them. So I still vent my emotion, but I turn that emotion into a power that will inspire. Yeah. And so therefore I regulate. I don't want to be dead in my emotions. Because as somebody said earlier, there's a fear, touch that hot iron. Yeah, that's called self-preservation, right? I don't want to damage that emotion. I want to keep it in mind because I don't want to do something stupid. But I do want to control it, regulate it. So next question. Are there unregulated emotions in your life? Take a moment and write that down. There's music playing, just pretend there's music playing. There's a waterfall.
Do you want me to put some music on, Jodi? I'm assuming if I unplug my headphones and put Spotify on, I could probably make it work. Do you want to try? Nod or shake your head. It's fine. Yeah? Okay. Hold on.
I forgot I put my mic on.
Yeah. Can you hear that? thought that was about a minute. Yeah, okay.
Perfect.
Awesome.
Sorry.
Awesome.
I keep putting my thing on because I have a tendency, you didn't want to hear me sing along. I sometimes start to sing out loud. So sometimes I'm self-editing myself.
Very good. All right. So we've identified our emotional age, and we've identified emotions unregulated. All right. So that's enough homework to keep you going for a while, right? But I think if you could comprehend, understand, that governing these emotions, bringing them into authority is very kingdom, it's very God. And so, but it's also going to help you be that person in the earth that can be trusted. You can become a trusted resource. You can be a person that people find safe to be around, steady, all these things that we hope to be, that we respect in others. Let's be that person ourselves, slow to speak, slow to anger, right? All these things. So let me talk about horseology a little bit. Horseology is my trademark training with horses. And I train horses pretty much every day. I have a training center where I train horses. I have one in Georgia and I have one here in California. And so I'm training at the moment 3 horses. One is a wild Mustang, literally wild. And I've had him I put 5 sessions in him, and they had to catch him with a lasso lariat in order to bring him over. 5 years old, he's a little guy. I call him Peanuts. He's going to make a great child's horse, but right now he's wild. But in the 5 sessions, I have put a saddle on him. And so the next thing we do is introduce a rider. From wild, he follows me like a puppy. He goes over all my obstacles. I have bridges. I have seesaw bridges that move. He climbs up one side, it drops down the other side. Wherever I go, he goes. If I ask him to do it without me, he's not going to do it. If I ask him to do it with somebody else leading him, not going to do it. So the first thing I do in horsemanship is establish a trust relationship. So the question then, if you are the right age emotionally, if you are regulating your emotions, then what? Then what? Then what? You're trustworthy. Because what is trustworthy really? You're not going to do something out of the blue. You're not going to react suddenly. You're just going to be calm and collected. And so that's what we want to do. We want to be that person. Yeah, you're right, Al. That horse will bolt, right? So we want to be that person that horse will trust, that wild Mustang will trust, right? But you've got to have it together. You've got to have it together. And therefore we say it's well with my soul when we have all of that together. So I would encourage you to work hard on growing your emotional maturity. How do you grow it? By regulating it. So you don't allow the outburst. You control yourself. You count to 100. You count to 10. Right? And so we don't discipline children, by the way, when they're emotional. Because emotional children don't learn. They're too emotional. So we let them calm down. We don't talk about a marriage disagreement in the heat of the moment. We wait till everybody calms down to talk about it, right? Well, imagine if you were that calm person at all times. So let's say my wife's throwing apples at me, and she never's thrown anything at me. Throwing apples at me, and she's you know, then the plate of curry at me, and then she's yelling. Well, I could pick the apple up and throw it back. You know, now we've got a war, right? Now we have a relationship problem because I couldn't govern my emotion. If I would just catch that apple and put it down, don't smile at her because she's going to get even worse. Just catch it, put it down, you know, and then say, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. If I hurt you, I'm sorry. I don't know what I did. Got no clue, but I'm sorry. Because that should be our attitude. That's our emotion. And that's one of the next emotions you have to deal with is empathy. But that's for another day. We don't have time today. But having empathy for people is being able to have a governed emotion. That you can allow yourself to feel for somebody. Yeah. All right. Any
So
questions
good.
before I wrap up today?
Yeah, so much. I've been having this saying on here that, you know, they'll say golden nuggets, but I really want to bring people gold bricks, and especially in the guests that come in, and almost every I say every guest, and you are not excluded, have brought a armored car full of bricks and gold bricks and just drop them, and which is amazing. And that's why I really felt strongly these will all be in a free community that people can go back into and listen to, because these are things that I haven't heard very many places. And so I was very intentional, especially for this topic, of who I brought in, that I knew what they carried and what they would release. So yeah, anybody that has questions, we'll open it up. Is that what you were saying, Doctor? You wanted to, okay.
Let's take 5 minutes for questions and then we can wrap it up.
Okay.
Yeah, Elle.
Okay, so the thing I find most challenging is, you know, when from your perspective, you haven't actually done anything wrong. And so there's that balance between wanting to sort of like smooth the waters and wait for it to cool over, but also not wanting to be a doormat, you know, like how do you navigate that?
Well, I think perspective. What is a doormat? You know, something that you allow people to walk over you. All right. But what about being smarter and more intelligent emotionally than the other person? Wouldn't that be to rise above? And I think you know, in relation, let's talk about relationships, because you talk about a doormat. We're talking about relationships. I come from my tsunami had to do with an abusive relationship, not physical, emotional, verbal abuse. All right. So how do you handle that? Well, the same way you handle everything. Because remember, you're the consistent. You've got to become the consistent in life. Because they will know if you're consistent enough. And so whatever comes at me, I'm always the same. That's maturity. It doesn't mean they walk over you. Because the person who has the emotion in check is in charge. So they may sound like they're in charge, but they're not. They may be making the noise that they're in charge, but they're not, because they're unraveling, right? They're losing it, but you maintain it. So the thing is, we have to deal with the emotion of, I always need to be right.
It's just sometimes it's quite tiring though, isn't it? Do you know when you sometimes feel like you're often, I'm not going to say always, because always is a long time, but if you're often the person that rises above it, if you sometimes feel like, oh, you know, me having to do this again. I know it's a choice, but I'm just being real, you know.
No, you're right on. You're right on. Rebecca, I have an amazing wife. She holds me accountable in emotions as well, you know, in all areas of life, because sometimes, you know, I'm 59 now, I'm tired, you know. I preached in 8 years what a normal minister takes 65 years to preach. You know, I did 40 meetings a month for 8 years without a vacation. I'm tired. I get to retire early. I'm done. You know, sometimes I feel that way. Sure, it's an emotion, but it's also sometimes I'm just really, really tired. You know, it's been a long life. Some people have one of those days. I had one of those lives. and the pressure of everybody wanting something from me, I found lately to be overwhelming. That's why I'm getting behind. Private messages, because it takes a lot of brain power. I had 3 strokes. I'm trying to get my cognitive back. I'm not functioning on all my cylinders up here. You know, I'm having, it's hard to think, you know, all this type of thing. So these are reality checks. They're not emotions. They're physical setbacks, whatever. And then somebody complains, right? Well, when I'm tired, my emotions aren't as governed as they should be, right? And then I want to say something like, well, if you can't appreciate what I'm doing for you, then get lost. That's what I want to say, you know, or whatever. You know, the emotion wants to come up, you know, and then there's Rebecca, you know, and then I would say to her, why do I always have to be the one that takes the high road? Why can't I just today take the low road and sock somebody's shot, you know? You know, she said, because you're not everybody else.
Oh.
You're better than them. So suck it up and go on. It's not always easy. So this is life. This is life. Some days are not as good as others, right? And I call them other days. I don't call them bad days. I call them other days. And those other days, my emotion, when I'm tired, my emotion wants to fly high. So I'm sitting here. I'm not much arm movement or whatever going on here, because I had a serious accident 3 weeks ago with a bucking bronco horse, and all my ribs down this side broken, shoulder blade broken, but I have such pain in my shoulders here. But I had to govern that to sit down and talk to you, right? And I've been doing that every day. But for a couple of a week, I couldn't use my hand to even message, you know, just messed up. So, and of course, everyone's saying, go to the doctor, go to the doctor, go to the doctor. No, I'm a son of the living God. I'll let him take care of me. And I'm miraculously healing. But I still can't pick anything up with my arms. You know, have some very, very bad nights trying to lay down and sleep, you know. So I've been sleeping upward for weeks. But that, I shouldn't show you that. I shouldn't be under that. I can tell you about it, but I don't want to show you that. Did you get that? I don't want to be sitting there, oh, woe is me, or, you know, I've got to be the better person. I've got to get up. I've got to be the man of God, the leader that I'm called to be, not by duty, but by government. So governing my emotions. So, but when I'm tired, like the last 3 weeks, because I've had to travel international, not international, to the East Coast from West Coast, sitting on an airplane, all broken. It was hard work. It was hard work. And then I did a 3-day submerge, morning, afternoon, evening sessions, you know, but I had to get up there and I had to deliver, because that's what we deliver. But how do I work out that emotion? Because I've regulated it, but I don't want to implode. I don't want to suppress it, right? So find a way to vent your emotions. So Rebecca and I have a little thing. If I want to vent and I don't want her to coach me, right? Then I tell her this is a venting session. And then she said, I'll just listen. And I remember, she just smiles. Probably not even listening, but because I'm venting, I just need to express it. I need to express it in a safe place. And so you got to find the safe place to express that emotion on that other day. When your friend has been ridiculous, you've got to take the high road again. Find a place to express that emotion, but not at the person.
Mm.
There's plenty of trees outside. Go
Dogs
for a
are
walk
good.
and mutter.
Yeah, dogs are good for that too.
You know what intercession means? To mutter before God. It means to mutter before God. Yeah. At the Wailing Wall, they mutter. We got to learn to mutter and express it, because the emotions need to be expressed. So if you're governing them, make sure you're expressing them somewhere. But that somewhere has to be the safe place. Otherwise, you know what it's like. We get up to go to church Sunday morning, and the wife doesn't bring her husband coffee in bed. He gets mad. Where's my coffee? Barks at the wife. Well, the wife gets mad. She goes downstairs, shouts at the kids. Kids get mad. They kick the dog. The dog gets mad, bites the cat. The cat gets mad, eats the rat. End of story. And then they come to church, right? Such is life. One emotion triggers somebody else's emotion, triggers someone, and so we have this ricocheting of emotions. We can't allow that to come out of us. It stops with us. Some say it stops with us. Yeah. Good. All right. I see people are leaving because they need to go.
Okay. Yeah. And you know what? It's great though. We will have the replay up so people can join afterwards. And that was awesome. We had Barone, it was midnight his time. He said he had to finally go. So this is so good. And I such some tangible examples and real examples of right now. I loved what you just said, Dr. Israel, of giving that last example, because you don't come under it. It's there, but it's such an example of it. And, of all of the fruits of the Spirit, the one I never heard, actually, I didn't hear a lot of talk directly in examples, and a lot of them growing up, but one specifically, and I had such an amazing mentor and pastor, and he would say, well, that's the fruit of the Spirit of self-control, Jodi. He's like, you get to practice and exercise that muscle. And so as it would come up, and of course, kindness and love and all of these different joy, all of the fruits of the Spirit. But when I started studying it more, I looked at it with a new lens, instead of looking at it from a point of view of, and I think we've all been there of, well, yeah, I just don't want to, it would feel really good right now to just tell you off, I mean, or even tell you how much I had to struggle to get on. And, I mean, I'm still a work in process. So some days are probably, some days are, how did you say that? I love how you say those days. Is that what you say?
Other days.
Other days. Yes. Yeah. I've definitely had some other days lately, but I love, gosh, this is just so good. And we will definitely have you on also as a guest, one of the Fearless Experiences, and of course as a guest in Breakthrough Group Coaching. And I just thank you. And I even thank you for sharing this, because I feel like it's such a great example. People wouldn't have even known you, and you came on. You said yes, and it's because of what governs you. And like you said, the one that you choose to move forward and use that self-control to drive you every day is, your governing is, did I inspire somebody? And so you move through it. It's not ignoring the emotion, but there is a difference between, I kind of say there is a thing called suck it up, buttercup. And I think that it doesn't acknowledge in my family, I say we were kind of the suck it up buttercup family, where it didn't acknowledge the fact that there were still feelings and emotions, and how do you, and so you would suppress that because of the emotion, because the only answer was, and I think you said the word and it was really powerful, but you just have to do it, right? And we don't want to just do it, and we want to understand what's feeling and not just suppress it. And so this was just so good, and I just thank you for being on. And I am I know Craig had to go, but I wanted to just allow Elle and Acelia and some of the team in Breakthrough, which you guys they have all allowed you. They're paying members of Breakthrough Group Coaching. And they, when I came to them and told them that I just felt like the Lord was saying I needed to put on an experience as I reopened Breakthrough Group Coaching, and also launched my adventure camp, which is kind of a smaller non-coaching one, which we're going to experience the weekly, which Rebecca will do tomorrow at 9 a.m. And then that is launching. They all were willing to take their time and their coaching time with me for 3 weeks now. And they sent me messages and they said, we really would like to share a little bit of what Breakthrough meant to us. So I wanted to just turn it over to Elle, because I know as I was sleeping, they were working on things, but I think that is the greatest part, is community. And connecting the dots and the different things we do here may not be the flavor for everyone, but one thing is community, and having a group community that you can come into and be accountable. But more than that, like, I'm blown away by how they are my community. Behind the scenes, we have had some other days where all my computer stuff went down while I was going to launch everything. And I had Elle and I had Craig and I had all these people that are my clients in connecting the dots. Some are one-on-one coaching, some are in group, that they all rallied around. They all were praying for me. And honestly, I was super humbled by that, because, they're paying me to coach them, and we become family. And I was thinking about this, that's how I've been as a financial advisor. Like, people are just my family. I always wanted to be that person that showed up at their kids' graduation, that helped them through the goals. And not everybody is that way, but I realize that is me, and it is honorable to do that. So I want to turn it over to Elle and to Acelia, because it was really on their heart. They just wanted to share this a little. Craig had to leave, so I don't even have my offer up. We will send it out.
You do have a link. You do have a link, and it works. I told you that days ago.
Did you put my link in?
I'll find it for you while Acelia's talking in a minute. I also feel like we should say to Dr. Israel, if you're feeling uncomfortable and sore, like, there's lots of words here, and so if you get uncomfortable and you need to shoot off, like, we won't take it personally, because we really appreciate your time, and this has all been awesome. So in case you do need to go, thank you ever so much. It's lovely to see you again. Not that I'm getting rid of you. You stay. I'm just saying, like, you might be thinking, oh, I got to take painkillers, and oh dear. But we've got a few here. This might take a minute. So this is from Tracy Joy. She said she couldn't be here because she's got a meeting. She says, hello, everyone. Tracy Joy here from West Virginia. I've been a part of Breakthrough since last fall. And as I've said before, it's not only a community, but a family. As you begin, she might make me cry. I have a box of tissues. I'm not meant to be unregulated with my emotions. As you begin to break through the very things in life that hold you back, not only does this family stand by you, support you, and cheer you on, but you also become part of their breakthrough stories as well. It's a beautiful dance of us all growing together. This community is a place where you can come as you are and where you are, but believe me when I say you won't stay there. My breakthrough experience has given me a boldness and confidence I didn't even know I had. I remember coming in timid and wondering if anything I said would truly matter, but it did. I was welcomed, accepted, and loved as the person God created me to be. You will truly love it here, but only if you are ready to grow. However, don't think you will grow and then just go on, because However, don't think you will grow and then go on, because just when you think you have grown enough, you are stretched again and you grow even more. I know growing can be tough, but tough feels good when you are breaking through. So that was Tracy Joy. Celia, do you want to share next? You don't have to. I'm just like.
Yeah, I mean, Tracy said it all. I mean, I was almost in tears. She was.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like, and it becomes, it really is a family. And yeah, like last night, but I was awake very early, so, and Jodi was awake very late, and I said, just go to bed, you know. And then she was filling and doing a lot of stuff, and I said, you go to bed, I will pray and stuff like that. So sometimes the time zone also helps, and it's definitely for me, it is a community, and we grow together, and you celebrate each other and each other's ups and downs, and yeah, you really just part. And Jodi do press us, and she challenges us, and it's not always nice, but you try to do it, really, even do video calls, video lives. But because the thing is, at the end, you do trust, you know. That is for me the bottom line. You do trust, and she's always there. So thank you. I will highly recommend it.
Thank you, Celia. This is Angelique now. She says she couldn't, she's traveling on her Easter break. So she said breakthrough has meant a lot to her because it's helped to get through lockdown, and she's got so close to God. And so she says, praise God for people like Jodi and Rebecca. And she loves us all, and she's going to see us next week. So that was Angelique. Who else I got? Oh yeah, I've got to find it now. Mary, bear with. Here we go. Mary said, this is long too. In Breakthrough, there is a process that is a little bit different than in most other groups. The development of different parts of our breakthrough journey coming from many different angles, many of which overlap and all of which allow us to see and appreciate every nuance of our breakthrough journey. Zooming in close like an ant's view to the fabric of my own life, I have seen where it is threadbare or even torn, possibly only a few threads through. Jodi was masterful at helping me methodically, look at and repair these seemingly small but nonetheless weak spots from top, bottom, and every side, as I simultaneously honoured and celebrated the areas of my strength. She went at a pace that wasn't slow per se, but certainly wasn't rushed. It was methodical in just the right way. Breakthrough was the catalyst that I needed after years of planning to get through the final stages of launching Spark Prophetic Innovations. I'm truly grateful for her caring heart and the prayers she prayed for each of us in the breakthrough journey. I am also grateful for the community of those who went through breakthrough together. There's something really powerful about breakthrough with a group. So that's Mary. And I just want to say as well, look at Celia. For me, like, Jodi's brilliant, and I've known Jodi before this. So I came here like wanting to learn how to hear God more, and there was that piece. But I feel like the biggest thing is the friendships as well. Like Celia and I, you know, like she's one of my besties. And then we've got her on Voxer now, but like she'll randomly send me a Facebook message and tell me, oh, God was saying this, and I'm so encouraging. And so it's not just, I would always say, you know, Jodi might tell me off for saying this because the one-on-one is more expensive, but personally, I would rather this environment than one-on-one, because you get the brilliance of Jodi and you also get the brilliance of community as well. But of course, the one-on-one clients, they get to do community too. But it's just brilliant. And I also would echo what I think Tracy Joy said. You've got to be ready to like grow as well. You know, there's no good, you can't hide. I mean, you can hide, but there's no point hiding, because otherwise it's just a complete waste of time. So yeah, I have this, so there's nothing really I can add, because all those words said it beautifully. But Jodi, I have sent you a private message with the link to your page. If you want to click it and make sure it is the correct page, I believe it is. Just saying.
Okay. Let's see here. I will click that in a second. And I just wanted to thank you guys all. And yeah, I wanted to make sure we put this on afterwards. And if you can tell us, this has been project of just building everything God said in connecting the dots. And I love what you say about the group coaching. And the reason why I have one-on-one is some people, maybe either their schedules
Of
or
course.
just whatever it is, and the one-on-one does even take you to a different level. You actually get the group. So like Craig Pickerel jumps in and he is one of my one-on-one clients, but you do get the all access pass. But it's exciting to get to see all the things that the Lord had been showing me and painting a picture of for a while of what it will bring. And I just want to invite you guys all. My style is to really make something inclusive. I didn't know what God was setting up when he had me go live from my phone a year ago and say, joining you from Camp Gambini. I didn't realize that was going to all fold into to my connecting the dots, but it was my heart to have all levels of participation. So to have a free community, and I know it's not recommended to allow all your stuff up for free in a free community or when you do a challenge, but I have to just do what I walked through personally, and I know that the ones that did things and had a level of free and a level where you could kind of dip your foot in, which is a venture camp. And my excitement is we're launching this tomorrow, the first one of the Going Deeper Prayer, which is a interactive Zoom. It will be recorded, and a venture camp will have its own little community. And of course, the next level of camp you go into, you get everything below. So Breakthrough, they get to participate in all of venture camp. And of course, they get to participate in the free community too. But it was important that in each community, I had something that was of value, that was just meat and potatoes and that you could feast on. And I believe that God will continue to bring people in through Camp Gambini. So I just want everyone, as you're watching this, if you don't have the link and you want to invite people, just send me a message and I'll show you how, because it is an open door. It's like a free restaurant that says, come on in anytime. That's where everybody can join. It's camp, right? Come join the camp. But then sometimes if you go climb a mountain, there's different levels that go to the next camp and the next camp if you're in, and to the next summit. And so that's kind of what the other different levels are. But a venture camp is a great way to join in also. And that's $35. I wanted to offer something that was affordable because that was life-changing for me when Danny Silk offered that in his culture and conversation group 4 years ago for me. At that moment, I couldn't afford to pay $200 to get in one of his other communities. And he lifted the boundary that we didn't have to have already gone through those. And that was really the beginning of a huge healing and of just having community. And he would get on live. And those that don't know Danny Silk, he's written books like Keep Your Love On and just some amazing, amazing things. And so that is my journey, that I said yes to the little things and God provided. And sometimes just $35 a month was a lot to believe for. And I've been in the places where I can't do the 35. So it has been my heart to make Connecting the Dots Coaching Company a place that has a place for every person to live and have meaty, not just fluff, not just, hey, I'm doing a challenge to get more business in. So when this challenge ends, you're not going to see me. You will still see me in Camp Gambini. And if you're ready to ascend to another level, you can join a venture camp. You can join, we call this one Breakthrough Fear intentionally because I brought you into the breakthrough group coaching. So surprise if you didn't realize it, but you got to experience, and I knew Dr. Israel would bring it. We kind of chatted offline. And so I was confident that
I'm trying to click to let, but it's not working.
Okay. Okay. Sorry. I just let that person in. So yeah, I just wanted to, hi Dee, you're joining just at the end, but hello. Awesome to see you. And we'll have the recording up so you can get in, and I'm just sharing the new things with all the levels with connecting the dots, and Camp Gambini is the free community that will continue to house. And so I'm just, my heart is for people to get breakthrough in whatever way. So I will continue to do things like this. And yeah, I just thank you all for joining. Make sure you guys come. The final bonus is with, you met Dr. Israel, is with his wife, Rebecca. Those inside here know her. Some of them know her personally, but I will tell you, she is so much. She is a coach. She is a powerhouse. She is also an amazing psalmist, writer, singer. She is a very prophetic singer. So she can literally just grab. So I'm not sure what it's going to look like. I'm just confident that we're going to kick it off we're going to kind of christen and this adventure camp, and what will be the community meeting and in the going deeper. So if you join in at that level, you'll get that. If you're ready to go to the next level of breakthrough, which I know all of some of the people in here wanted to share that are members of that, then you'll get that too. But or if you want to go to the next level, you'll get all of it. So it really depends what you are for. But the last thing I just wanted to make sure, because there are women here, but this is for men and women. So there are no, my ministry is very clear that I to help Christians, help entrepreneurs, and help couples that are married. So both I may have, but it is an overflow either way. So if I have LU, it's overflowing to your hubby. You know, for those that are not married, it's going to prepare you, and hopefully even the people that I bring in and allow you to meet, like Dr. Israel, like Joseph, like all of these people, my hope is that you're getting to even see, I intentionally make sure that I'm bringing a diversity of men and women, a diversity of cultures, diversity of different things, because but there's one common thing, hopefully you will see is that these people, I would say, as we talked about spiritual or emotional intelligence, they're mature. They're mature, and no matter what their age is. And so that is something really important to me, is to bring people in that I know and trust, or friends of mine that I know what they carry and their maturity level. So they don't have to have a huge following for me. They have to have brought, like, I want people in all platforms that when I bring them in, that they're going to bring a armor car full of gold bricks, not just a golden nugget. And that way, and I want you to be able to chew on it, because I've been in groups where they take it down and then I didn't get to chew on it. So if I'm going to bring something, I'm going to offer it for free. I'm going to allow it for free, and I'm going to keep it in a library that is for free and available, limitless replays. So that's what Camp Gambini is. And then if you want to come on board in any of the more paid membership levels, I would say that Elle and Acelia really gave you a great snapshot of what breakthrough group coaching is. We do meet 2 times a week. Everything is recorded because we do have people that can't always meet. We meet at this exact time, which is 10 o'clock Pacific Standard.
We don't always run for 2 hours.
No, we don't run for 2 hours. But
we do sometimes, but we try to, this is the royal we, because but you do try to keep it to time, in fairness.
Yes, I try to keep it to time. This is an experience,
of course,
that it's free. So if my guests and me were open to it, I'm just pouring it out for you. But yes, to clarify, in breakthrough group coaching, we do keep it to about, and I'm trying to do that well, because God has told me how much my time is valued as a coach. So But if the Holy Spirit says to stay, we stay. If there's something that needs to be, we do everything from prayer to hearing God's voice. There's been deliverance. There's been little inner healing sessions. I bring in, matter of fact, the guest in breakthrough group coaching next week is Tina Hester, who is she's another one that will really help you with your emotional health. And she is a certified sozo trainer, and she moves in a healed heart. And I personally, she is my person that I go to for inner healing. We have sessions at least once a month. We actually have a standing appointment. I coach her, she coaches me once a week. We strategize as on kingdom entrepreneurs also. And so she will be at 11 o'clock. So those of you that are watching that are in breakthrough, the third, which we will meet Tuesday, the regular time, but Thursday will be at 11 o'clock. And the reason is because one of the members of Connecting the Dots, Craig Pickerel, is launching his 3-day Naturally Supernatural. And he has asked me to be his moderator. And we have literally, God has developed Connecting the Dots and the Bring In Stuff. We have been each other's beta testers. So it was important to me. I'm like, no, I'm changing it, Craig. I'm going to be on there. And that's his first day out of the 3 days. So if you were wanting to participate and you're in breakthrough and you've been like, oh, how do I do that? Because I'll have to get off there and I'll be late. We're going to make it work for you. So breakthrough won't start till 11 o'clock. We'll be kind of back to our old time just next Thursday. So come join us tomorrow if you can. It is Good Friday, and I just feel like there's going to just be not everybody maybe can go to a Good Friday service, but I just know what Rebecca carries. And if you're around at 10 a.m., come on Zoom. If not, we will have you said I'll miss you tomorrow. Oh yeah, you're visiting family. Okay. Well, we will have the recording up, and yeah, and if the recording doesn't go up like I thought I put it up, it actually is encouraging that people notice that it's not up. So the replay will be back up. I will do my very best to have this up in the next couple hours, because today is a little more smooth. I mean, I have had pretty much every single business I have all come through this week of something I've had to show up and deliver and work through. So it has been a joy though. Like, that's just what it is. When the harvest is here, when it's your time to show up and do it, God will give you the strength. Yes, I had 5 hours of sleep, but he refreshed my sleep. Thank you, gals, for the prayers, because I woke up refreshed and just ready to come on. So it has been a joy. Just to let you guys know, under Camp Gambini, if you choose not to join any of the other memberships, that's okay. I will still be bringing Throwdown Prayer Thursday and Motivational Monday, 5 p.m. We are going to be moving off of Facebook and moving into a Zoom. And then all those Zooms will be uploaded into the Camp Gambini community. But I felt like the Lord was saying it's time to take it where we see each other's faces. People can come on and we can really throw down prayer if somebody needs prayer. We can really join together as a community. So we are going to be moving it that way. I will promote it on my personal page and have the free Zoom link. This will all be free because it's under Camp Gambini. And then once a month starting, I believe it's April. So it's the second Wednesday. So it'll be April 14th. We will have a meeting. We will have our fearless experience, which will just be once a month now, guys, not like the 3 weeks. I think it's going to end up 8 sessions. So it'll be once, but you will get, you guys, it will be a great taste. I will bring guests and it will be a topic that we will address. So I think everybody had to run. So I just thank you all. Thank you, Marie, for being on. Great to see you, Dee. And the uploads will be on soon. And I just look forward to seeing you guys all. So blessings to you all.